do, it doesn't last for long, and why we feel empty, and what are the reasons for it, and what you can do about it. So we will also talk about neuroscience, what's happening in your brain, and we will be discussing about research on this topic and main themes that are involved. And we will be using different approaches to explain you why this is happening and how you can support if you are experiencing this kind of challenges. So let's first discuss about achievement paradox and hedonic adaptation. According to research, human mind is adapted towards positive or negative experiences very fast, and even if we experience some feelings at the beginning of certain tasks, by time we get used to different situations. For instance, according to research that was conducted, people who experienced a lot of negative experiences, such as accidents, for instance, came back to their previous levels of happiness, and these accidents or troubles didn't change their happiness levels much. Or at the same time, people who had experienced a lot of sudden happiness, this happiness also didn't last for very long, and they came back into their previous levels of happiness. And the same applies for achievement. So when you are setting a goal for yourself, and after a certain time, you might, after achieving the goal, you might feel as if you are empty, as if your work doesn't matter, or you might feel as if you are not experiencing as much happiness or satisfaction as you expect to. And so what you can do about it, one of tools you can apply for yourself is that to notice what are your values, what's important for you, and link your goals with these values. As a result, even if you cannot succeed in the level that you were expecting, you will have like deeper feelings of satisfaction, or your feelings will last longer, and this will create more meaning in your life. So many people believe that achieving a goal will create lasting happiness, confidence, or fulfillment. But after the initial excitement fades, they often find themselves feeling surprisingly empty. But this happens because our minds quickly adapt to positive changes. This is the term called as hedonic adaptation, and making achievements feel normal sooner than expected. And our attention becomes focused on the next goal rather than appreciating what has been achieved. And our thoughts tell us that fulfillment exists in the future somewhere, and this is leading us to become fused with "I will be happy when" stories. So we start to postpone, we start to avoid uncomfortable feelings of uncertainty, maybe, or inadequacy by constantly striving, and we can also lose contact with the present moment and disconnect from what matters. We might shift our focus on it and attention on external validation. And so when achievements is driven primarily by external validation rather than personally meaningful values, success often feels insufficient. And lasting fulfillment tends to come not from achieving more or setting new goals, but stopping and realizing why this task is important for us, why this goal is important for us, what are some values behind these tasks, and staying present with our experience and building a life that reflects who we want to become rather than what we want to prove to others. So when achievement is driven by external validation, and achievement driven purely by external validation, such as approval, status, or outperforming others, is inherently unstable, and this cannot cause long-term satisfaction or long-term uh, feelings of meaning. And because each time when you will achieve the goal, you will want another goal, and there will be another, a higher standard goal. And always we would like to prove more for the others. And this is the most anxiety producing form of achievement motivation, because the emotional reward is insufficient. But when we try to connect our goals towards the values, when high achievers pursue goals that are fundamentally meaningful for them, it becomes easier for you to stay concentrated on your values, and there will be more meaning in your life. And the fact that you have some goals, ambitions, and things you want to accomplish, and that you are here today, already tells me that there is something that you still care deeply about your life, and there are some things you want to achieve, and there are some things that matter for you. Even if you feel tired, even if you are discouraged, even if you've been working hard for a long time and wondering whether any of it is worth it, many people come into conversations like this carrying a quite burden, a lot of uncertainties, and they keep adding new things to their list, another achievement, another milestone, another target, hoping that the next accomplishment will finally bring the feeling they've been searching for. And sometimes they might feel excited for a while, they might feel successful, but I'd like you to invite you into a different kind of conversation. Imagine that tonight, while you are sleeping, something remarkable happens. Not only are your current goals achieved, but every item on your list is completed. And for instance, if you are striving for promotion, maybe your promotion happened, and a project was succeeded, and degrees earned, or you achieved financial targets that you were trying to achieve, and whatever is in your list has completed. And what would be different about your life that would let you know that this was meaningful? How would you know that whatever you have achieved was successful and meaningful and important for you? Take your time and try to answer this question, because often the first answers are not about the achievement itself. People start telling things like, I would feel proud of the person I become, I would be helping people, I would be making a contribution, I would feel connected. These answers are important, and they suggest that what you are really seeking may not be the achievement itself. The achievement may simply be your best attempt to move toward something that's deeply important for you. And I wonder if some of that important thing is already present. Let's suppose your answer is, I want my success to help people, I want to contribute to other people. And tell me about a recent time, even a very small time, when you helped someone. Maybe nobody noticed, maybe nobody was applauding you, or maybe they were not validating your feelings, but for a moment you were already living part of what makes success meaningful for you. So oftentimes we forget that what we are seeking, the meaning that we are seeking from accomplishing a goal, is already exists in the process while we are trying to achieve the goal, while we are on our way, while we are making efforts. And can you think of a moment recently when you felt even slightly connected to another person? Maybe it was during a conversation, a text message, shared love. And what interests me is not whether these moments are perfect, but what interests me is that they are an evidence that pieces of life that you want may already be happening, but we are not just focusing our attention on it, and we are not considering it. And when people are struggling, it's easy for the mind to focus entirely on what's missing, what's wrong. But solutions often begin by noticing what's already working, even in small ways. So, ACT distinguishes values from goals. Goals are destinations, they can be achieved and then crossed off, but values are directions and they never run out. So, you may be moving towards the north, for instance, a lot of time, but you may never achieve it. So, this is the goal. But when you set this is the value actually. But when you set a goal, you can achieve a goal. And for instance, if your value is contributing to others, caring about others, then you may never achieve this goal because it will never end. You will continue to take care of others, to contribute to care for a long time. And you may have been telling yourself for years, once I lose the weight, then I'll finally live my life. And perhaps your mind has become very convincing about that, and it it paints a pictures of a future version of you where you feel more confident, accepted, free, and it tells you that life is waiting on the other side of that number on a scale on a day when you will lose weight. And I wonder if you have noticed that the story costs you. So we are constantly waiting for something to happen, for a miracle to happen, for certain things that we will achieve, and we are constantly postponing our goals or what's meaningful for us. Because while your mind is telling you different stories, while your mind is busy negotiating with the future, your life is continuing to unfold right here, and maybe there is a photograph you avoid being in, maybe there are invitations you decline, maybe there are clothes you never wear, conversations you never start, experiences you postpone, because a story has convinced you that you must become someone else before you are allowed to participate. And oftentimes we don't notice that the story costs too long, too much for us. And see if you can notice that story, what it is a story, not an enemy, not something to argue with. It's just a story that your mind produces. It's a thought, just a thought your mind offers. And when that thought shows up, maybe other things arrive with it, such as shame, sadness, frustration, fear, and these feelings can be painful, and yet struggling to eliminate them before leaving often gives them even more power. So, what if instead of spending all your energy trying not to feel them, you allowed them to ride along with you? You notice these feelings and you started to be present in your relationships, in your work, in your studies, and in other areas of your life, and you started enjoying and noticing and appreciating what you really care about. For instance, in that very question, when I ask you first about if you have already achieved everything that you are trying to achieve, imagine that you have completed the task, you have achieved financial stability. Imagine that you have contributed in the way that you wanted to contribute. What do you think would be meaningful about completing this? So there you can find your values and what's important for you. And once you realize what's important for you, you can notice other areas of your life, daily life, where you are already making efforts. And you would notice that even taking steps towards that values is actually creating that meaning, and you are recreating your meaning and present moment and change at that moment. But because your life is too precious to wait for the permission, and notice something else, there is a part of you that has been present through every chapter of your life, through every diet, every success, every disappointment, every change in your body. And maybe your body has changed, your thoughts about your body have changed, your feelings about your body have changed. And there is an observing perspective from which you can notice all of that's happening, your feelings, your experiences, and you are stronger than judgments your mind makes about your appearance. So let's come back to this moment, not the future body your mind promises. And this body, this day, this life, what is it that you want your life to stand for? Maybe your answer is vitality, maybe your answer is connection, feeling more energized, maybe it's adventure, maybe it's contribution, caring, kindness. Notice that none of these values require a particular number on a scale before they can be expressed. Losing weight may be a goal, but goals can be useful. But vitality is a direction. connection is the direction, contribution is the direction. And you never arrive at them once and for all. You choose them again and again, in every moment, in every day, every hour. So instead of asking how quickly can I become the person I want to be, try asking what would be a small act of vitality, what would be a small act of connection look like today. And maybe it's taking a walk because you care for your body, not because you are at war with it. And maybe it's accepting an invitation you've been avoiding. Maybe it's wearing the clothes you like instead of waiting until you are earned the night. Those steps may or not change your weight today, but they change something deeper, and they move towards a life that is being lived now rather than endlessly postponing until some imagined future arrives. So, and that is the difference between chasing a goal and living a value. If you've been feeling lost, stuck, or unsure about what really matters, all of us experience that way from time to time because we are all human beings. And many people come to a point in life where they realize that they have spent years chasing their goals, meeting expectations, solving problems, or trying to avoid pain, or trying to make other people uh, love them or feel valued, and somewhere along the way they lose contact with the deeper question, with uh, what kind of life do I want to live? And your mind is often eager to answer with achievement, possessions, or outcomes. You can ask yourself these questions not to what you want to get, but how you want to be. Who do you want to be in this moment? And one exercise is sometimes also called as a thumbstone exercise. It might be helpful for you to realize what's really important for you, what's meaningful for you. And I know that can sound uncomfortable at first. Most of us would rather not think about our own mortality, death, but this exercise is not really about death, it's more about living. Imagine that many years from now, people who knew that you are gathered and remembering you, and what would you hope they say? Not what you want, not what how much money you have earned, but how perfectly you performed, and not how perfectly you performed, but what would you want them to say about the way you treated people, for instance, the way you laughed, or the way you showed up when life became different, how you supported others, and maybe you would want them to say he was kind, or he was courageous, or she has helped people feel seen, and she has supported others. So what you would like others for you to tell things about. And another exercise invites you to imagine yourself in 90 years old and picture that older version of yourself sitting beside you. And the person has lived through success and disappointment, gains and losses, joys and heartbreaks. And now imagine asking them, what should I prioritize? What would you like to tell yourself? If your 90 years old version was sitting next to you, what would you like you have suggested for yourself that you should have done now? Very often, the older self doesn't talk about working more hours or worrying more or proving more. Instead, people hear things like spend time with the people you live, take the chances that matter, stop waiting for permission to live. And what makes the exercise powerful is that it helps you step outside the urgency of the present moment and see your life from a wider perspective. So now look at different areas of your life, at your relationships, at your career, at your work, at your health, learning, maybe community, personal growth, and others. And for each area, you ask two questions. How important is this to me, and which values would I like to see in these areas? And if, for instance, a kind version of you already started to show up in your career or in your work, in your relationships, what would be different? How much are you currently living in line with it? And the purpose is not to judge you here. I'm not here to tell you what you need to do. I'm not here to judge you or blame you or tell that this is your fault, because it's not being useful when I'm judging you or when I'm trying to tell you that this is your fault and you should have done something about it, and this is completely like when I'm blaming you. How do you feel? You don't feel useful about it, and this is not contributing to any kind of change. It will just make you feel more ashamed, more guilty. Therefore, many people immediately discover a gap and start criticizing themselves. And don't do that. The gap is not evidence of failure. The gap is information, and it's simply life showing you where your attention may want to go next, and things that you are worried about, you feel anxious about, are actually areas that you care. And in fact, if you notice a painful gap, that may be a sign that something precious is there. And we only feel the ache of disconnection when we care deeply about what we are disconnected from. So if you discover that relationships matter greatly to you, but you've been distant from others, that pain may be painting toward, pointing toward life. And if health matters deeply, but you've been neglecting yourself, that pain may be pointing toward self-care. So if creativity matters, but you have stopped creating, that pain may be pointing toward the longing to express yourself. And the goal of this exercise is not to create the perfect life plan. The goal is to help you remember who you want to be. And once you can see that direction more clearly, even in the presence of fear, doubt, uncertainty, or old habits, you can begin taking small steps uncomfortable experiences have disappeared. Because your life matters enough to move forward, what you love, even while carrying what hurts. And that is what values are about. So they are not destination waiting for you in the future. They are directions that can guide you every next step. And many high achievers discover through the process the goals driving their achievement, being to their parents, their culture, or their comparison groups. And oftentimes they notice that the goals that they have set are actually not theirs. So asking yourself what really matters for you, what's really meaningful for you, and imagine that you have already achieved everything on your current list. Asking yourself what would give you that achievement meaning, what would make it feel genuinely worthwhile. And the answer values and points towards more sustainable achievement motivation. And research by Ryan and Deki on intrinsic versus extrinsic motivation have found that achievement motivated by intrinsic values, such as genuine interest, personal meaning, growth, produces higher well-being, more creative performance, and greater persistence than achievement motivated by external validation, even when outcomes are identical. So Kardec's research also found that a mastery orientation focused on learning and development produces better long-term performance and more positive effect than a performance orientation focused on demonstrating competence compared to others. And values work supports the shift from performance to mastery orientation. And according to William Damon's research on purpose, uh, a a stable sense of contribution to something beyond oneself sustains motivation across setbacks, frustrations, and periods without external validation. And it's the difference between achievement for its own sake and achievement in service of something that genuinely matters. You can take 30 minutes of your time this week and write what genuinely matters to you beyond what I think should matter. What would you pursue if you knew that no one would ever know about it? These questions begin to separate authentic values from extremely imposed ones. And for each major goal you are currently pursuing, and asking what value is this goal serving? genuinely. If you cannot identify genuine personal value, it serves this may be an extremely driving goal. Or at times when you feel unmotivated, for instance, when you feel stuck, ask yourself why this task or work is important for me. And once you are able to connect with your values, you will be able to connect with your authentic self, with the version of you that you want to be, and this oftentimes creates motivation. I ask this question to myself: what really matters for me, what I would like to do if no one was seeing me or I had all opportunities. And I discovered that I would like to still be a psychotherapist, speaking with people, researching, learning, and still would like to be around the people around whom I am now. And it was also useful for me. I'm trying to apply these strategies for myself, and uh, oftentimes we feel stuck when we feel disconnected from, or we forget about why we are really doing certain things. And before immediately moving to the next goal, for instance, after achieving a goal, spend 24 hours trying to understand what was achieved and what mattered for you during that task. And this counters the hedonic adaptation that empties achievement of emotional reward. And every week ask yourself, am I living in alignment with most important things for me right now, and where is their biggest gap between importance and engagement? And this maintains ongoing values awareness rather than leaving it as a crisis or emptiness. So I tried to share science and psychology of motivation and why we feel unmotivated or empty when we are trying to pursue certain goals. I hope this session was helpful for you. If you think that this might benefit someone, don't forget to share it with your friends. And if you have any further questions, don't hesitate to ask your questions in the comments. Take good care of yourself and see you in the next videos again.